Consistent growth, that's the hope for Secretary of Education Jacob Olivia. We'll give you the details, plus new businesses and new faces for Russellville. We take a look at some of the new shopping options and a look at your new officials. Cyclone News starts now. Good afternoon. Welcome to Cyclone News. I'm Stella Smith. Last Tuesday, Governor Sarah Sanders signed a proclamation in support of expanding Turning Point USA clubs, a Christian political club, to Arkansas high schools and universities. The proclamation was signed to encourage students' engagement with civil discourse and discourage the discrimination of free speech in schools. Regarding these potential new chapters,
all our high schools and our colleges to accept students' reasonable participation in clubs and political or religious speech. And if school administrators try to suppress students' freedom of speech, as we have seen in other states, let me assure you that conservatives have just as much of a right to speak their mind as anyone else in the country, and we will stand up for you.
Later, many gave their words of support at a press conference, including Turning Point USA's chairwoman and CEO Erica Kirk. Other Club America partnerships have already been made across the nation in states such as Montana and Texas, and a similar endorsement was made by Indiana's Governor Mike Braun last Thursday. More education news now out of the Capitol, as Secretary of Education Jacob Olivia said that student enrollment as higher capacity classes is up to 30% year over year.
But what we're seeing that's significantly improved after the last 3 years is more students are pursuing more accelerated coursework than ever before. So like even this year over last year, even in career and technical education for concurrent credit, it's up like 30% over the previous year.
Olivia says the goal is to continuously increase the number of enrolled students in higher demand courses each year. Several new national retailers and restaurants have begun construction and are set to open at Russellville's strip mall, known as the Valley Park Shopping Center, bringing more shopping and dining options to Russellville's area. Confirmed businesses include Jersey Mike's Subs, Ulta Beauty, Nothing Bundt Cakes, Smoothie King, and Mattress Firm. Valley Park Center is owned by the Woodmont Companies, a Dallas-based real estate investment and operating firm. The president of brokerage services for the company has publicly stated that Russellville has proven to be an attractive location for national brands, and this project reflects our confidence in the site. Additional details on construction timelines and opening dates will be announced as they become available. But for now, the community can look forward to expanding their dining and shopping options in the city. And those businesses will be working closely with the new leadership in the area. Cyclone Media's Maddie Clements is here to break down the latest election results.
Thank you, Stella. Voters in Pope County went to the polls earlier this month to decide several races, including U.S. Senate, Sheriff, Justice of the Peace, and school board races. In the race for the U.S. Senate, Republican incumbent Tom Cotton secured the Republican nomination in the November primary and will face Democratic candidate Haley Schaffner in the upcoming general election. The contest is expected to draw continued attention as the campaign season progresses. Local school board elections have also drawn attention from voters. In Zone 2, longtime Representative Georgianne Rollins announced earlier this year that she would not be running for re-election. The people of Russellville have chosen Tyler Loop to take her position. In the Zone 1 race, Jason Cunningham retained his seat on the board, defeating John Crawford. Cunningham had previously been appointed by the Pope County Quorum Court last year, following the departure of Holly Hall. Sean Harris is named the new sheriff of Pope County. With 7,320 total votes, Chief Deputy Harris beat out Tony Haley by just over 300 votes. Harris will step into his new role in January of 2027. The same goes for all that in local election news. Stella, back to you.
Thank you, Maddie. Pope County continues to see steady business activity. Much of it is guided by local leadership. Cyclone Media's Brianne Nicholson recently sat down with Pope County Judge Ben Cross to discuss his re-election campaign and his plans for the future of Pope County.
We're in a transition period of growth like we've never experienced, and I think if you take the fact that our census numbers are always lacking, meaning that the last census in 2020, we missed a quarter of the population. And when I say we, the U.S. Census Bureau. So while if you Google Pope County, you're going to see 64, 65,000. Our realistic population is about 82,000. And so with that amount of growth, that amount of realized population, then I'm always looking, where are we going to be in the next 25 years? And the next 25 years tells us we're going to be at 110,000. So in doing that, from a county standpoint, you have to look at the infrastructure. What makes our county work? The 911 system, the ambulance service, emergency management, the sheriff's office, the jail, everything that supports that infrastructure. And if you go by national statistics of what you should have for your population, we should have about a 400-bed jail right now, and we have a 172-bed jail. So what we're faced with is the fact that we can't incarcerate nothing but violent offenders. And in doing that, we lose what's called misdemeanor justice. As with any elected position, you should want to leave it better than you found it. And I think we've already done that. We've built a new ambulance service on the Tech campus. We've built a new public works facility. We've built the first ever coroner's office in the history of Pope County. We're still embarking on this new jail and 911 system. So those are all, priorities going into the next one. Is we definitely need this new jail and 911 system. And so at this time, no, I can confidently say I'll be done at the end of the next term.
Well, it seems the natural state has experienced all of the weather this week. What does our weekend and next week look like? Sara Olson is here with a look at our weather forecast.
Well, the past few days have been looking a little bit more like spring, but last weekend this was not the case. This map shows you the severe weather outlook that we were given last weekend. We saw medium risk throughout the state, with the exception being in northwest Arkansas, Fayetteville area with a low severe risk, which is what we ended up seeing. We ended up seeing actual tornadoes touching down in the northeast part of the state, though, which did cause some damage up into Tennessee. If we look at the GFS graph, we can see the low pressure systems and the high pressure systems that were actually fighting for that control straight through Arkansas, with the low pressure systems eventually pushing through, bringing the colder temperatures that we ended up seeing. Now, if we look to the north, we saw the actual pressure systems and the effects that they had whenever they try to fight for control like that. We saw tornadoes touching down through Tennessee, Louisiana, even rain into Florida, while in the northern states we were seeing feet and feet of snow. So the same system produced blizzards and tornadoes in the same night, in the same span of 2 or 3 days. Now, if we look on the effects that it had on Arkansas, the wind gusts getting up to 48 miles per hour, Little Rock, Searcy seeing the worst of it, the middle of the state. Into the north part of the state, 46-mile-an-hour wind gusts, which is significant. I hope you put everything that could blow away inside, because if you didn't, it has been blown. The wind chill that came from these wind gusts, 5 degrees in Harrison, 11 degrees in Mountain Home. These are significant wind chills, especially as we're in March. We're supposed to be in spring weather. Now, these winter temperatures, they weren't as significant into the south as we saw 27 in Monticello, 27 in Lake Village, almost the 30s down here, which again is not what we want to see moving this close to spring break. But as the weather has continued to progress throughout the week, we haven't seen any precipitation. As we look at this was Wednesday, and this looks like it will be the rest of spring break. No precipitation. You can see clear skies. Temperatures have been steadily rising throughout the week, and that is, again, what we want to see for our spring break.
Downtown Russellville recently welcomed community members for the Spring Art Walk, an event that brought art, music, and local businesses together in the historic downtown district. Good evening, I'm Stella Smith.
And I'm Abigail Rivas.
Right now, we are in downtown Russellville, and you can probably hear the excitement behind me.
The Art Walk is officially underway, filled with musicians, artists, and community members.
We're going to take you inside the heart of the Art Walk and introduce you to some of the talented artists and the people who make this event possible.
Stay with us, you won't want to miss this.
Now, in its 21st year, the Art Walk has grown into a cornerstone event, uniting the community with live music, food, art, and the celebration of creativity.
Organizers say the event continues to grow each year, highlighting the power of the arts to strengthen community ties and celebrate the unique spirit of the area.
Throughout the evening, we spoke with vendors, event leaders, and musicians who say the Art Walk is more than just a night of entertainment. It's an opportunity to connect with the city, share their craft, and celebrate the local arts scene. I'm here with Mayor Fred Teague, and he's going to be talking about how much he loves the Art Walk.
Oh, I am going to be talking about how much we love the Art Walk. Speaking of Art Walk, have you guys been to Point Removed tonight? There's this guy named Drew Brent.
Yes, we have.
Guitar over there. It's pretty amazing. But no, Stella, what do you think about this turnout? Because it is absolutely crazy. It's really packed.
I think it's great. This is the biggest turnout I've seen from the Art Walk all the years I've gone. What do you think?
I think it's really amazing. Now, the weather has a lot to do with it. We had a little 5K going on here. Got lots of vendors, food, and it's just incredible. So, I mean, I've never seen so many dogs out. Have you seen so many dogs out tonight?
Oh, I've seen so many.
And getting to see you guys is pretty awesome. We got Cyclone broadcasting out here. That's really awesome.
As the Art Walk wraps up, it's clear the event continues to bring the community together and celebrate local creativity. Reporting from Russellville, I'm Abigail Rivas.
And I'm Stella Smith. There's been a lot of change along Main Street in Russellville over the years. Karis Foy takes a closer look at how the addition of railroads in the 1800s helped connect Russellville to larger cities, bringing in more materials, businesses, and opportunities.
Just like the old days. What do you think?
In the late 1800s, Main Street Russellville was small but growing. Most businesses were general stores, blacksmiths, boarding houses, and specialty shops like tailors or hat makers. Goods came from local farms or were shipped along the Arkansas River. A major change came in the 1870s with the arrival of the railroad. It connected Russellville to larger cities, letting farmers and merchants sell cotton, timber, and coal to wider markets. The railroad turned the town into a regional trading center. Today, Main Street looks very different. General stores and blacksmiths are gone. They've been replaced by coffee shops, boutiques, and professional offices. Some historic buildings still stand but serve new purpose. Hotels and boarding houses were important back then. Travelers, salesmen, and workers often stayed in small inns while visiting for trade. Now most of these buildings have been converted into offices, apartments, or restaurants. Community events shaped Main Street Russellville as well. Fairs, political rallies, and church gatherings brought people to the street, where vendors could sell goods directly to the people. But today, events still happen, they just usually happen in parks or civic spaces rather than on one street itself. Businesses themselves have changed. One store in the 1800s often sold a wide variety of goods. Now, shops focus on specific products or services. Coffee, clothing, or professional offices. Looking at Main Street today, Russellville has clearly changed, but many of the businesses and events from the 1800s laid the foundation for the downtown we see now. The street reflects more than buildings. It shows the town's economic and community history over more than a century.
Recent reports of ICE raids across several U.S. states, including Arkansas, has caused fear and confusion throughout the immigrant community. Advocates say families are being torn apart, while federal officials argue they're enforcing the law. Immigration attorney Robert Talese helps us take a closer look at what immigrants need to know about their rights. When someone is facing deportation from the United States, it can be one of the most stressful moments of their life. But it's important to know this.
I've always told our clients through the years is in the United States, we do have the right to remain silent, but we don't have the right to lie.
First, the right to due process. A person has the right to a fair hearing before an immigration judge. The government must prove its case, and the individual has the opportunity to present evidence, call witnesses, and testify on their own behalf.
Before somebody appeals a case, they may want to consider a motion to reopen the case with an attorney um, based on the facts of the case and the procedural history, what's happened before in the case. And then, and so you can then, if a judge grants a motion to reopen, an immigration judge grants a motion to reopen, then you may be able to have another master hearing, another trial date.
Next, the right to an attorney. While the government does not provide a free lawyer in immigration court, individuals have the right to hire an attorney at their own expense.
So what's beautiful about our country is that due process rights apply to everybody, whether somebody is a citizen or a non-citizen in the United States.
So what are the due process rights for immigrants who find themselves in this situation?
One, they have a right to a hearing in front of a judge. They have a right to an attorney. They have a right to notice, meaning they have a right to receive the court time and place and location and whatever they're charged with. They have the right to present evidence. So, for example, witnesses, their testimony or documents, things like that. They have a right to an interpreter in their native language so that the court can understand everything they have to say or the witnesses have in their native language. They have a right to appeal to higher court if the trial does not go the way that they would like. And they have the right to apply for relief from removal of the country, depending on what their history is.
Facing deportation does not mean facing it without rights. Understanding these protections can make a critical difference. Seeking qualified legal guidance as early as possible can help ensure those rights are fully exercised. Immigration remains one of the most emotional and complex issues across our country. Two of our local immigrants share their stories.
My name is Ark.
I am from Maracaibo, Venezuela.
I'm from El Salvador, and my little town that I'm from is called Sonsonate.
We weren't living bad in our country, but we thought we were gonna get better opportunities moving out of our country.
For me, it was difficult because I didn't leave because I wanted to. I actually get forced, basically, because, you know, in Salvador in that moment, it was really dangerous because the gangs and all that stuff.
We went to Caracas, Venezuela. It's the capital. I went with my dad and my mom to get our visa. But the thing is, when we went there, only me and my dad applied for a visa. My mom didn't.
And they were trying to recruit me and stuff like that. So my family was in danger because they told me that if I wouldn't join the gang, they would try to kill my family and stuff like that. I was 9 years old. Yeah, I was 9 years old when all that happened.
She had to stay with my brother, but she had that intentions of coming here, but she will have to leave my brother when he was 14 alone.
So they actually do really bad stuff to me too, like beat me up after school and stuff like that. And I was just little, and so my dad took the decision to just risk everything and just get out of that country because I was in danger. Thank God to my family nothing happened after I leave because they thought, I don't know, like a move or something, so they don't do any problems no more. And the moment it was like not a decision, it was like a first thing that I would have to leave, yes or yes, because my life was on risk basically.
And they were rejecting like whole families, so that's why only me and my dad applied for the visa. And that something that got me sad is I couldn't see my mom. I didn't saw my mom from 7 years. No, maybe more. Maybe 9 years. I just turned 10 years here, so I didn't saw my mom for 9 years until last year I decided to go to Colombia. That's where she's at with my brother right now. And it was so much different. It was like, it reminded me when I was in Venezuela, and things weren't easy, but the good thing is that they do live good, and if they need something, I'm gonna support them no matter what.
There was, like, when I came here, it was not that bad because there was a little people that couldn't speak Spanish.
When I came here, I think one of the biggest thing, it was getting to school. I mean, it was a whole different change, and some of my classmates, they weren't really nice.
So I could barely talk English. So when I came here, I was sad, and I didn't want to go to school because I didn't have no friends. I couldn't speak the language. I was really scared of everything. But yeah, the first day I just came to school. It was I just stayed in a table alone. Yeah, and no one talked to me. No, they were like, "Oh, you're the new" and stuff, and they were like trying to talk to me, but I couldn't understand.
The Russellville School Board voted last month to eliminate late start on Mondays to make up the time missed due to January snowstorm. PPC Chairman Seth Stewart spoke with us earlier and told us while there was no perfect solution, this seems like a reasonable compromise.
Actually, more student contact minutes. So we did have a couple different plans, but getting rid of Smart Start Monday gets more students, more face-to-face time, and then adding the 10 minutes at the end of the day also gave more students more face-to-face time. We did consider extending the school year at the end, but when making that decision, it wouldn't have affected many students because a lot are gone at the end of the school year. And then we did talk about removing Smart Start Monday and making students come April 17th, but we still wouldn't have been at the number of required minutes for student makeup. So in the plan, it just lasts to the end of this year. So May 20th is the last day that we have to add the 10 minutes, and that gave us a little over the time that we needed to make up. Well, the biggest thing was finding the minutes and then getting it in front of the school board in time to make up the minutes. And you know, we wanted to do things that didn't disrupt everybody's schedule. One of the challenges is that some schools already go extra minutes, more minutes than other schools. So one of the things, we had to do it based on the school with the least amount of minutes. So there was a lot of discussion on taking Smart Start away, and especially adding the 10 minutes to the end of school because it affects other schools differently. Best, maybe not. Easier, yes. Because if we didn't do that, we would have to either find minutes at the end of each period, which would cut down the time between periods from 4 minutes to 3 or 2, and that would lead to excess tardies.
Now to Camila with Cyclone Sports.
Thanks, Stella. Welcome back to Cyclone Sports. I'm Camila Hernandez Silos. Spring sports are officially underway, and starting off with soccer, both the Cyclone and Lady Cyclone teams have kicked off their season strong. The boys team is currently undefeated, continuing a trend we've seen for the past few years. Meanwhile, the Lady Cyclones are currently second in the 5A West Division with a 2-0-1 record. The team is coming off of a hard-fought tie against Siloam Springs yesterday with the final score of 1-1. Just last year, they broke a 7-year losing streak against that same team under second-year head coach Fallon Bruckner. Moving over to baseball, where our Cyclones are stepping back up to the plate. They recently fell to Siloam Springs with a final score of 6-3, bringing their conference record to 0-3. Softball is also in full swing. They're currently third in their division with a 2-2 record after a loss to Siloam Springs with a final score of 2-5. And finally, our athletes in track and field are already making an impact on meets. Yesterday, the team traveled to Greenwood to compete in the Greenwood Bulldog Relay. Individual highlights include senior Aubrey Williams, who placed first both in the 100 and 200 meter dash with times of 12.75 and 26.94 seconds respectively. Samario Hibbler, who secured the top spot in the high jump, long jump, and triple jump. Carson Walker, who took first in the 1600 meter run, and Anaya Staswick, who finished first in the 400 meter dash with a time of 1 minute and 3.41 seconds. Other standout performances from Atlas Swan, who took first in the pole vault event, and Zach Shamsey, who also placed first in the long jump. The girls 4x400 meter relay team finished first with a time of 4 minutes and 26.67 seconds, while the boys 4x100 relay team also took first with a time of 43.39 seconds. That's all for Cyclone Sports for now. Be sure to come out and support our athletes. Live in the studio, I'm Camila Hernandez-Silos. Stella, back to you.
Thank you, Camilla. And to wrap up today, Cyclone Media spent the day in Little Rock touring the Arkansas Capitol Building and KARK4 News. A nice switch up from a normal school day. Thank you for joining us on this edition of Cyclone News. I'm Stella Smith.